What if gravity flipped for 1 second? It's a question that sounds like a setup for a sci-fi disaster movie or a particularly bad Monday. Gravity, our loyal, invisible friend, keeps our feet on the ground, our coffee in our cups, and our atmosphere from floating off into space. But what if, for just one single second, gravity decided to betray us? Let's say this bizarre scenario begins at precisely 3:14 p.m. UTC on a random Tuesday. One moment, everything is normal. The next, every atom on Earth feels a sharp, inexplicable urge to do the exact opposite of what it's always done. Instead of being pulled down, everything is violently repelled away from the ground, like the Earth suddenly became the world's biggest anti-magnet. Now, 1 second might not sound like much. You might be thinking, come on, how bad could that be? But consider this. Gravity isn't just a polite suggestion. It's the constant 9.8 meters per second, squared tug of war that anchors literally everything. The moment gravity flips, that 9.8 becomes a negative 9.8, and anything not bolted down, or even things that are, goes flying. People sitting on park benches would be airborne before their ice cream cones could hit the inverted ground. Coffee shops would become scenes of chaos as lattes, customers, and entire tables take brief but dramatic flight. In cities, cars parked on the street would jump, hover, then come crashing down onto sidewalks or other vehicles. Drones and birds would suddenly be flying. Downward? No, upward. But the birds would be completely confused either way. And then there are the planes. A commercial airplane cruising at 35,000 feet would feel the reversed pull and briefly lurch upwards. But remember, gravity affects everything, not just people and objects, but air as well. In that 1 second, the Earth's atmosphere would try to lift off too. Clouds would surge upward, pressure systems would become scrambled. There'd be a global gasp as every molecule of air tried to escape its usual downward loyalty. But let's get weirder. Water. Oceans, rivers, swimming pools, even that annoying puddle by your front door. All of it would erupt into the sky. Massive geysers of seawater would launch upwards, reaching hundreds of meters before reversing course. Fish, confused and increasingly alarmed, would briefly experience what it's like to be astronauts. Some unlucky dolphins might be seen somersaulting above cruise ships like it's the end of days at SeaWorld. Buildings, especially skyscrapers, are built to withstand earthquakes and wind, but they are not built to deal with a sudden 1 second inversion of physics. Elevators would jump on their cables, windows would shatter, and anything stored on high shelves, goodbye office plants, would become deadly flying objects. Meanwhile, the people. Some would only float gently, barely leaving the ground. Those inside cars, strapped to chairs, or lying in beds might survive with no more than a story to tell. But joggers, construction workers on scaffolding, and that guy cleaning his gutters, they'd be airborne, sometimes fatally so. Even if you only rise a few meters, the moment gravity flips back to normal, you're falling with no parachute and zero warning. The world would hear a collective thud. Now, imagine orbiting satellites. Most of them would be unaffected. They're beyond the reach of Earth's gravity flip. But things in low Earth orbit, they'd wobble. The International Space Station crew would feel a strange jolt, an awkward hiccup in the fabric of space that would be noted in every physics textbook forever. And what about gravity itself? How does it flip? Are we imagining it actually changes direction, or that its field becomes negative? Either way, the energy required to reverse a fundamental force of the universe, even briefly, would be astronomical, pun fully intended. It would probably require more energy than the sun outputs in millions of years, or at least more than a suburban dad trying to fix his Wi-Fi router. But let's say somehow it happens. 1 second of reversed gravity, and then, snap, everything slams back down. The aftermath would be surreal. Emergency rooms would be overwhelmed. There would be news footage of water pouring off rooftops, cats climbing down from the ceiling fan, and a confused flamingo walking through Times Square. Economies would stumble for a day or two, confused by the mass cancellation of flights, shipping delays, and the sudden global demand for stronger ceiling bolts. Memes would flood the internet within minutes. Gravity flip challenge videos would trend, mostly starring people getting lightly concussed by their own furniture. Conspiracy theories would bloom, some blaming CERN, others blaming time-traveling pranksters, and at least one guy blaming his ex-wife. Scientists would be baffled. A 1-second global reversal of gravity would violate every known law of physics. Researchers would spend decades trying to explain it and end up with Nobel Prize.